Hello everybody, this is Peter with Tabletop Gaming Guild, and I'm coming to you today with another little product review. We have gained access to a very early beta reader version of The Gatherer's Tiny Kingdoms, which is going to be a new tabletop role-playing game being put out by Half Monster Games. The plan right now is that they're going to be crowdsourcing this one, and they're going to be doing that on the GameFound website. So it's not going to be Kickstarter. It's called GameFound. It's another site where companies can crowdsource their games that they're wanting to put out. As of right now, today is October 20th, and it looks like we are 13 days out from the campaign launching. So it's, like I said, we got a nice early visual of this game that they've sent us. And so it looks really, really interesting. So let's go ahead and read this little blurb that they've put on here. Become tiny warriors just 2 inches tall, living in your attics, cellars, and walls. This charming, action-filled tabletop role-playing game is like a mix of the secret world of Arietti, The Borrowers, and Dungeons & Dragons, and you can play in all the rooms of your actual house with our unique physical play game mechanics. So yeah, as I was reading through the rule set that they sent over to us, I definitely got the nostalgia of reading either the Borrowers book series or watching the Littles on the cartoon when I was a younger person. And I've not actually watched The Secret World of Arietti, but I know of it. I believe that's a Studio Ghibli film. And so there's a lot of really interesting things happening here. But the idea is that you will be playing tiny warriors that live in your actual house. So let's go ahead and jump over to a real quick view of the rules that they sent over to us. And again, this is a very early draft edition that they are currently working on. But this is the edition of their quick start manual. It's going to kind of give an overview of the intro rules to the game, how the dice mechanics are working for this one, what kind of skills they're focusing on, and again talking about their physical play aspect that they're kind of working on with the mechanics. So I got a lot of that nostalgia as I was reading through this, of watching that the Littles cartoon and reading the Borrowers books, and the idea of this world of tiny humanoid creatures that live inside your actual home. So as the person running the game, the idea would be that you're inviting people over to your house and you're going to play a role-playing game, and the setting for that world is the house that you are playing in. So you could choose a specific room to play in that evening, and all of the play will take place in that room. Which I just think is really, really interesting. So I'm just going to do kind of like a quick scroll through here. We've got our regular table of contents, how to play, what a role-playing game is, being the game master, and being a gatherer. So again, the game is called The Gatherer's Tiny Kingdoms. So a gatherer is the type of creature that you are, these little teeny tiny warriors who live inside your walls and attics. They've got ways to play, and they're pointing out a point and play style play and a physical play. And my understanding is the point and play is you're in the room and you're taking keys from the different things in that space. So maybe you see a bookshelf and you point to the bookshelf and say, my gatherer would be behind those books on that bookcase, and I'm seeing this world before me. And so you have the idea of taking in the space that you're in and looking at it from the viewpoint of a tiny person, trying to navigate how would I get down from here? How would I go to this place? And what would I be doing? They also have physical play, which they're referring to their playing with miniatures, is my understanding, and still using those miniatures around the space. But you could actually put the miniature behind the bookcase. And then I'm not 100% sure if the idea is that eventually there would be any kind of play on like a battle mat or anything when it would come down to combat. But that might be a possibility. Not 100% sure. So they talk about goals of the game as well. the things that you'll need to play, and then the core rules. And again, this is going to be a short video. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. But the core rules I also think is interesting because they're using a very interesting take on the dice. So we'll see here that they've got the D4, the D6, D8, D10, D12. And that is you're going to, as your character levels up, you're going to be rolling a different die. Because on here, when you roll, you're rolling a 3 results in a success. So with the D4, you can, you got a 50% chance that you're going to succeed by rolling a 3 or a 4. And with an apprentice, you've got 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you've got a slightly bigger chance. With the D8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would mean success, and so on. So as the die gets bigger, the percentage that you will succeed in what it is you want to do will grow. With, of course, a 1 being a critical failure as well. So I thought that was kind of an interesting dice mechanic for rolling and increasing as your character levels up. They've got some skills that everyone is going to be doing, and so it looks like it's kind of interesting. The skills, your character can have a mix of them, and you'll be keeping track of that. And so they've got brawn, craft, clamber, which is like their dexterity climbing around thing. They've got animals, so how you handle with animals. Giant tech, which I think is really fun because it's using, they call humans in this game giants because we're so massive compared to these tiny creatures. And so using giant or human technology like computers, phones, passwords, electrical appliances, engines of programming. There's magic, so there's still magic in this game, so it's still a fantasy world, even though it's taking place in your house. There's social and sneak. So those are the different skills that they've got for this game. And again, throughout the play, the idea is that you'll be leveling those skills, leveling your gatherer as you play through the house. And then when you're creating a character, they talk about choosing your class as well. So most of the thing here is fairly normal. You're going to choose your class, your origins. They're going to talk about skill increases as well as you play through the game. And then they get into specializations that each of the characters are going to have, your equipment that you will be using throughout the place, which again, I just love this idea of these small, tiny people who live in our homes. So they're going to be using the things that they find around the house. So you can see here pictures of, especially that I'm noticing here, the key that is being utilized here for something. I'm not sure which one of these it corresponds to. You've got a rope and hook, a sharp knife, but then they've got like this shield, and so it's just a tiny piece of rope and a bottle cap is their shield. So I think that looks very interesting and fun. I've not played in a game like this. I know there are games out there with other tiny creatures, Mouse Guard for one, where you're playing as the mice in the game. There's Humblewood out there now as well, where you're playing either as birds and or mice and other creatures of that kind. But this one I think the thing that really sells me on this one is the interesting setting. I'm not having to come up with a strange fantasy setting or utilizing a fantasy setting that is out there already, but I'm utilizing my own home, the rooms in my home, the items that I have in the house. And they even talk about when running a game for the people at your home, taking the time as the game master to set up the room with interesting objects. So even though it's the same dining room you've always played in, taking the time to really look at your space and try to build it out so that there's going to be fun things for the players and their characters to interact with, I think is just a really, really fun idea. So like I said, this is going to be a quick video, but I wanted to go ahead and tell you a little bit about it. There's this really interesting circular mechanic that they've got going where you're going to be like your player sheet, and as your skills increase, but you'll get to choose filling in as you level up what die you'll be using for each different skill. So you can see here on this example that this person has leveled up their brawn up to a D10, but their crafting and their sneaking is still down at the D8, and their clambering is still down at the D6. So I just think it's very unique in certain ways, and I think it's got a lot of heart behind it. So I'm very interested to keep up with what it is they're going to be doing with this game. And like I said, the game itself is supposed to be hitting Game Found here in about 13 days. So I'm very excited about that. I went ahead and did sign up to get a notification when the project goes ahead and launches. And it did tell me that when I did that, I would receive like a $5 discount towards the game. So have no idea what the pricing is going to be on this. I don't know when the actual, like if the campaign is successful, I don't know how long it'll be before items actually are released. I would assume, like most RPGs nowadays, it's going to come out with like a PDF level, and then also a level that comes with the physical book. But we'll have to wait and see when that actually happens. But I wanted to let you all know about this. The Gatherers, Tiny Kingdoms, a tabletop role-playing game by Half Monster Games. I think it's going to be really, really fun. I've definitely got some friends who would really get into playing the game in the space that they're actually in physically. I think it'll play really, really well with some specific friends of mine. And I'm looking forward to seeing what more they do as they build out this rule set. I like the dice mechanic with the skill levels and leveling those up. I think that's going to be fun. So, all right, everybody, that was a short video. Again, this is Peter with Tabletop Gaming Guild, and I'm just showing off the Gatherers Tiny Kingdoms that's going to be coming out by Half Monster Games. So if you're interested in checking that out, we'll have the link to the Game Found page in the description below, or you can go to Half Monster Games website at halfmonstergames.com probably to find out a little bit more. And if you like the video, go ahead and give it a like. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can always check out tabletopgamingguild.com to find out more of the stuff that we're doing. We have our podcast. We have our YouTube channel, obviously, that you're watching right now, where we put out videos where we review games, digital adaptations. We do playthroughs. And we're always interested in hearing back from you all. So go ahead and comment in the sections below the videos. Let us know what you're thinking about what we're putting out, things that you might like us to talk about. But until we talk again, keep on playing games.